Hey, everybody, welcome back to the podcast. You're listening to the longest running superhero role playing game on Earth. And as always, I'm your host, the Game Master. And today we're talking about Batman, the Joker, the Justice Society of America, and all sorts of things. But before we get into that, there's something I should probably say. In 99% of the games that I run, my group of players doesn't mind when my normal speaking voice is the voice of the non-player characters that they encounter. But there are a select few characters who fall into that 1%, where if I use my normal voice, my players hate it. One of those characters is the Joker. That said, I've tried to do an impression of the Mark Hamill version of the Joker, which I think is probably the gold standard these days, but I just can't do it. Once or twice, I've done a good job of impersonating him, but those are the outliers. I do a pretty good impression of Darth Vader from Star Wars. I do a really good impression of Worf from Star Trek. I actually got hired once to be the voice of Destro from G.I. Joe. But all of those are examples of me lowering my voice. It's hard for me to go higher, which of course tends to be where the Joker's at. So that said, in person, I can do a pretty good impression of the Joker from the 1989 movie, played by Jack Nicholson. But there are a couple problems with that. First is that I've met a lot of people, usually who were born after 1989, that hate that version of the Joker. The second problem is that my microphone ruins a lot of my impressions, including the Jack Nicholson impression. All that said, when I use my regular speaking voice and I say a line like, "Have you ever danced with the devil in the pale moonlight?" It drives my players nuts. To them, it's like fingernails on a chalkboard. So for the following adventure, what I do with the Joker is sort of a lose-lose situation. I'll do my best, but I'm asking for your forgiveness in advance. Having said that, I do hope you liked today's video. And before we get going, I'd love it if you smashed the like button, make sure you're subscribed, ring the bell for notifications, and as always, be sure to leave us a comment, as that really helps out with the YouTube algorithm. With all that said, let's dive into the adventure. The prologue to today's story takes place in 1940 in a suburb of Philadelphia called Civic City. Here in a brownstone building, the Justice Society of America are meeting for a Christmas party. In our game world, the team consists of the Golden Age versions of Aquaman, the Atom, Batman, Blue Beetle, Captain Marvel, Dr. Fate, the Flash, Green Lantern, Hawkgirl, Hawkman, Hourman, Robin, the Sandman, the Spectre, Starman, Superman, and Uncle Sam. But Johnny Thunder and his Thunderbolt, who, by the way, is an imp from the fifth dimension, kind of like Mr. Mixia Spitlick, they were not invited. So Johnny wishes that he was invited to the JSA meeting. So Thunderbolt grants his wish by causing him to cross paths with Dr. Fate, who takes Johnny Thunder to JSA headquarters, where a banquet is being served. Hawkman invites Johnny to dine with them, and Johnny asks them what's the most noteworthy thing that happened to each of them this year. Everyone goes around the table telling stories. Flash tells a story about some sunken treasure he found. Hawkman and Hawkgirl talk about the fire ghosts of Krakatoa. Spectre talks about a bronze statue that came to life. Our man tells a story about a bunch of jewel thieves who were all dressed as him. Batman is next in line to tell the others what happened to him this year, and he decides to tell them about Selina Kyle, better known as the Catwoman. She had disguised herself as an old lady and was stealing precious jewels on a cruise ship. Even though she was a criminal, Batman never quit thinking about her. But before he can say anything, Batman's youthful ward blurts out the name of the Joker. Robin says the Joker was the biggest thing that happened in 1940. Johnny Thunder asks who the Joker is, expecting a lighthearted story. But this time, he does not get what he wished for. The main plot of the story begins earlier in 1940. That spring, the Joker interrupted a radio broadcast. He announced that he would kill Henry Claridge and steal the Claridge diamond at midnight. A large group of policemen guard Claridge's home, and at this point, they don't take the Joker very seriously. Then, at the stroke of midnight, Claridge begins to laugh uncontrollably. The police try to help, but can't, and Claridge seems to laugh himself to death. As they gather around his body, Claridge has a grotesque smile on his face. Jim Gordon then discovers that the diamond was already stolen and that it was replaced with a glass one, and the Joker has left behind his calling card, a Joker. Later, the Joker goes on radio and announces that he will kill Jay Wilde and steal the Ronker's ruby. Once again, a large number of police officers fail to safeguard the victim, who, at exactly midnight, begins laughing uncontrollably. Again, they're powerless to help, but this time, the Batman arrives on the scene and substitutes an Omni-Gadget for the systemic antidote power. When used, this should make the recipient immune to toxins. But before Batman can use it on Mr. Wilde, he is surprise attacked by the Joker, who uses a gadget of his own, paralysis gas. The Joker had been in the room the entire time. There was a suit of knight's armor on display here, and the Joker snuck in earlier, put the armor on, and was standing here motionless the entire time. Batman is helpless in this moment, and it triggers his traumatic flashbacks. In his mind, he's that helpless boy in the alley again. And what's worse is that Dick Grayson is here too. As the Joker looks at Robin with that leering grin, Batman is furious, but unable to move. The police officers can't move either. Joker walks over to Batman, examining him. "Nice outfit," he says. Joker doesn't kill Batman because Batman amuses him. But Wilde isn't as lucky. The Joker venom does its thing, and in the end, Wilde is dead with a hideous grin on his face. The Joker gets away with the Ronker's ruby. And as soon as Batman slowly begins to be able to move again, he uses the systemic antidote Omni-Gadget on himself. He then quickly recovers, throws Robin over his shoulder, and leaves before the police can recover and try to arrest him. The next day, a mobster named Brute Nelson is enraged that the Joker is pulling off these jobs that he planned to do. So Nelson sends word out that he thinks the Joker's a coward. Bruce Wayne and Dick Grayson hear about this and suspect a trap. The Joker pays a visit to Nelson, who he shoots and kills. But as he is leaving, Batman arrives. This time, he tells Robin to stay in the car and keep the motor running. So Robin does as he's told, as Batman and the Joker fight on a bridge. Batman hits Joker, doing 1 point of damage. The Joker, depending on which version of the DC Heroes RPG you go by, has power reserve, which raises his strength and body. The idea here is basically that the Joker has adrenaline, and that this is his quote-unquote maniacal strength of 7 APs, explaining how he's a threat to Batman without spending years of training to become peak human. All that said, the Joker hits Batman with his strength of 7, and Batman takes 3 points of damage. Just one more hit like that, and Batman will be knocked out. Batman punches the Joker again, doing 1 more point of damage. But the Joker then knocks Batman off the bridge. As Batman falls over the side, he makes a dexterity check and successfully grabs the ledge of the bridge. He holds on by his fingertips, and his smooth gloves aren't helping matters any. The Joker then stomps on Batman's fingers, and Batman falls into the icy cold waters below. Luckily, Batman survives. He makes his way to shore, but the Joker is now nowhere to be found. Robin helps Batman get into the car, and they return to the Batcave. The next day, the Joker announces that he will kill Judge Drake. The Joker impersonates a police officer and kills the judge with Joker venom, then leaves. Robin has been stationed outside to follow whoever comes out, so he trails the killer to an abandoned house, but the Joker turns the tables on him and captures Robin. The soles of Robin's shoes have been painted with a special chemical, and Batman uses an Omni gadget with the detect power to follow Robin's trail, arriving just in time to save him from an injection of Joker venom. The Joker manages to escape. Robin then tells Batman that the Joker was saying he was going after the Cleopatra necklace owned by Otto Drexel. The Joker is in the middle of stealing the necklace when Batman and Robin arrive. No longer amused, the Joker declares that he plans to shoot Batman in the heart. But in DC Heroes, characters with a lower initiative declare their action first. And the faster characters get to react to this and plan accordingly. So Batman subs an Omni gadget for the skin armor power. So when Joker's bullet hits Batman's chest, it does no damage. And that remains in effect for the duration of the fight. So the Joker does no further damage later either. While Batman, on the other hand, knocks out the Clown Prince of Crime. Joker is taken to the New Jersey State Penitentiary, but as soon as he's recovered, he removes 2 false wisdom teeth. Each one is hollow and filled with a chemical. When these 2 chemicals are mixed together, they explode, which is how Joker escapes. Meanwhile, at stately Wayne Manor, Bruce Wayne and Dick Grayson hear the news on the radio, and Bruce speculates that the Joker probably wants revenge. The Joker then enters his secret laboratory through a hidden entrance in the Gotham City graveyard, and he starts plotting. The Joker puts on Caucasian face paint again over top of his bone-white skin, disguising himself as a police officer. He sneaks into the office of Chief of Police Chalmers, where he rigs the phone with a booby trap that can be activated remotely. The next day, the Joker calls the chief, and during the call, triggers the trap. A spike shoots into the chief's ear, killing him. The next day, painting is stolen, and the owner is found dead, grinning. A reformer named Edgar Martin calls for the capture of the Joker and is marked for death. That night, Martin is under guard and plays cards to calm down, but the pack is all Jokers and poison-laced, killing him. The next day, Bruce Wayne suggests a trap for the Joker to his friend, Commissioner Gordon. Press prints a series of articles on the Fire Ruby, and despite suspecting it's a trap, the Joker goes for it. When he arrives, though, he's intercepted by Batman. Batman and Joker fight again, but this time, the Joker stabs himself in the chest. Batman and Robin flee, leaving the police to find out that the Joker is barely alive. The Joker is sent to Arkham Asylum for the very first time, where a young candy striper named Harleen Quinzel slowly nurses him back to health. Which brings us to our epilogue. Having heard Batman's story, the Justice Society is quiet. Captain Marvel finally breaks the silence by saying, "Holy moly!" Everyone agrees that the Joker is more than what they've had to deal with thus far. Johnny Thunder says he's glad this Joker character is behind bars, and they'll never see him again. Johnny Thunder is wrong, of course. The Joker will break out of Arkham time and time again. That's a story for another day. We enjoyed playing this adventure. We hope you enjoyed hearing about it. If so, as always, smash the like button, make sure you're subscribed, ring the bell for notifications, and be sure to leave us a comment, as that really helps out with the algorithm. We hope that you guys have a great week, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye.